Good morning. Welcome to In the Garden with Joyful Living. I am Kimberly Dixon of Joyful Living with Kimberly Dixon. As many of you know, this is my Saturday morning segment in which I take a moment just to inspire and motivate everybody. I've been doing this 2 years, 3 years, a number of years. But I want to show, while we're waiting for everybody to get on this morning, I'm going to show you my garden. Please share the video. For some reason, Facebook won't allow me to tag people when I post a video. So please, when you get on, immediately share the video so that other people get an opportunity to experience In the Garden with Joyful Living. So while we wait for some people to join, I'm going to show you my beautiful, this is my front porch actually, but it is bursting with flowers and vegetables, and things are growing quite nicely. That's my blue-eyed African violet. I have two. That one is especially beautiful. They're doing very well. That is my better bush tomato. I purchased it with a little bit of growth to it, but I can tell that it's been growing exponentially since it's been replanted. This is a smaller better bush tomato. That is a Roma tomato, and basil and marigolds, which help repel insects. In this container, I've got a green bell pepper, which is that plant, a red bell pepper, and curly kale. And I don't know if you have been watching, but that kale has grown a lot since I planted it just 2 weeks ago. This is my rosemary, which smells divine. My garlic chives. I cannot wait until the lighting is not good. But those strawberries are doing very well, and I actually will be picking some later today and having them as a nice little snack. And just like with any other fruit or vegetable, when you see the beautiful little flowers, that's where you're going to have fruit. That's my Delilah plant that is ready to bud some new flowers. This is a gardenia bush. All of those are gardenia bushes. Good morning, Monique. They have the most beautiful little white flowers, but the smell is the best thing ever. I don't typically like artificial perfumes that are made with gardenia, but the actual bush smells wonderful. This is my Urbana daisy. It's from last year. It's actually an annual and should have died through the winter, but it didn't, and it's about to bud new flowers. That's my collard greens. Y'all, I cannot wait to harvest some collard greens. I love them, and that's gonna be delicious. And I actually planted that bucket first, but then a couple of weeks later I did those, so I'm gonna have a continuous harvest of collard greens. That's arugula. I love arugula. It's in the lettuce family. It has a peppery taste and smell, and it will, oh, that one's getting ready. I need to harvest some. I wonder why that's flowering so soon. But it's pretty heat tolerant, so I'll be able to have that for a little while. My romaine lettuce, I think I let it get too cold. Well, I didn't let it get too cold, but I should have brought it in one night, and it's in a little bit of distress. The cabbage is showing out, guys. That cabbage is going to be huge. But I love cabbage, and most people just cut out the head when it grows up, but the leaves are actually edible too, and you can use those for cabbage rolls and things of that nature. So I'm going to utilize every part of that plant. That is my mint. It's doing very well. It smells great. I'll be using that in teas and in water and things of that nature. And those are some green bean seeds. But yeah, Monique, those are collards, because usually I've been doing zucchini and cucumbers, but I don't have enough bees in the area to pollinate them. Good morning, Jay. So I decided to go with something different this year that didn't need the bees to pollinate. Okay, no, I lied. I did plant one yellow squash because I've never planted that. But it's in the zucchini's in the squash family too. Oh, Jay, be quiet. Y'all, your friends, they don't act right. So later today you will be seeing a video of me singing on Facebook. Y'all, I'm not a singer. but you know, your friends challenge you, and I like to, anything I can do to encourage somebody else, I'm willing to do it, even risking my own embarrassment. Good morning, Susan. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and get started this morning. So last week, I gave you some tips on managing stress during this season. And, you know, those were to work on a home project, start a new hobby, or pick up a hobby that you used to do that you just suddenly found yourself not having the time to do anymore. Remain grateful and exercise. Those were the tips from last week. So this week we're going to have part 2. Good morning, Tiffany. Part 2 of managing stress during this season, because this is something that none of us have ever experienced before, and it is going to require some adjustment so that we can come out of on the other side of this, because we will come out of this. Good morning, Jolie. Good morning, Cynthia. Good morning, Nazir. So that when we come out on the other side of this, we are still healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually. Oh, Jay, you already posted it. I have to go look when I get off of here. Jesus. So, well, thank you. The tip number 1 for this week on part 2 of managing stress during this season is to start journaling. If you have not been journaling about your day-to-day life and how it's changed, I want to encourage you to start journaling, because whether you realize it or not, some of y'all got some books in you that's going to be based off of this very experience. So I am a 5-time author, but what most people don't realize is my first 4 books were self-published, and they were based off of a blog that I had been writing on when I was going through my most trying season of being in chronic pain every day. Some of the passages in that book, in those books, those first 4 books, it was the Now What series on chronic pain. I have arthritis. Now what? I need a knee replacement. Now what? I had a knee replacement. Now what? And the journal. All of those books, some of the passages in those books are word for word off of a blog that I had been writing when I was in the throes of pain. The blog was beneficial to people, but then when I was able to repurpose that, put it in a book, and those books are still on Amazon now, and I still get sales from those books, even though that was in 2016. So start journaling. 1, it will help you write. Oh my God, writing connects the heart with the mind. You will write some things that you never even realized were hidden away on the inside of you. So start writing. Just spend a few minutes in the morning or a few minutes at nighttime. Good morning, Louisa. Good morning, Celeste. Writing about your experiences, the day-to-day experiences, because some of y'all gonna have some books about your homeschooling adventures. I've been seeing some hilarious posts on Facebook. I tell you, because people didn't realize all of those. Guys, please share the video, because I can't tag people. Please share the video. I've been seeing some adventures about homeschooling that are absolutely hilarious, and they're realizing that the teacher was not exaggerating when they were sending them all of them emails. So some of you got some books inside of you. Good morning, Rob, that are going to be about your adventures with homeschooling. Some are going to be able to write about how this stay-at-home order actually saved your marriage. Some of you are going to be able to write about some things that are not as joyful, but about your experiences with COVID-19. I pray that none of us are touched personally by it, but at the rate that it's going, and honestly, I'm starting to see on my timeline now where people are being diagnosed with the illness, and members of people's families are passing away from it. Some of us are going to have that story to tell. But I want to encourage, whether you want to write a book or not, start journaling about your experiences, because those experiences will help you to really connect with what it is that you're really feeling, because sometimes we won't admit it to ourselves what we're really going through. So start journaling and connect your heart with your mind. Tip number 2 is set a schedule to your day. Especially if you've been impacted, either you're working from home for the first time, or you've been laid off, or whatever impact that this has had on you. I encourage you to set a schedule, because otherwise the days just run together and you can get lost in it. I remember I've been working from home. Thank God my employment hasn't been affected, and I pray that it's not affected. But I started working from home in 2011. Excuse you if you can hear some talking. My neighbors are leaving out now. But I started working from home in 2011, and that was such a crazy adjustment for me that in order for me to be productive, I had to set a schedule so that I could get some things done. Otherwise, I just dragged around all day, which brings me to tip number 3. If you are working from home or you've been laid off, good morning, Sabrina. Good morning, Sonia. Or you're working from home or you've been laid off, I want to encourage you to get up, get dressed, brush your hair or do your hair. It'll make an amazing impact on your day. Again, as I said, I started working from home in 2011. And at first I was like, oh yeah, I can wear my pajamas all day long, every day. And what I realized is I never really woke up. By 10 o'clock, I would still be dragging around, even though I'd had several cups of coffee. So something's on my glasses or either on my phone. I realized, excuse me, that getting up, getting dressed and doing my hair had an impact on the way I felt throughout the rest of the day. Now, I'm not saying you got to get up and put on a full face of makeup. You can do that if you want to. But I'm just saying, don't get up and keep your pajamas on all day, because it will impact the way you feel throughout the rest of the day. It's okay to do that from time to time. And sometimes I get up and I still leave put my robe on and come on downstairs and feed the kitties or whatever. But when I start working, good morning, Celeste, I know that I have to get dressed if I'm going to be productive. It's like, because I'm telling you, Tiffany, it works. Tiffany and I actually, we work for the same full-time employer. We're on the same team. I've known Tiffany, God, forever, a long, long time. But it makes a huge impact. Even though I put on workout gear, you don't have to get business casual, but put on something, because it will impact the way you're feeling so that you're not dragging around. Now, this tip number 4 was part of last week as well. It's to be grateful and to be kind. I'm repeating that because it's worth repeating. In every situation, there is something that we can be grateful for, but we're going to have to look for it. And be kind. I know we can all be a little frustrated when we go to the grocery store, because we've gone 5, 6, 7, 10 times now. Good morning, Rachel. And we have not been able to find what it is that we're looking for. But I want you to realize that everybody in that grocery store, from the people who are checking you out to the people who are stocking, the management, whatever area they're in, they are risking their life to come to work so that you can get your groceries. Be kind to those people. You should be kind to them every day. But now, especially during this season, good morning, Bill. I went to high school with Bill. That's my friend. I haven't seen him in years, but if I saw him today, I would still hug him and greet him like I did when we were in high school. Just an all-around great guy. But I want to encourage you not to forget who you are at your core. Or if you've been somebody who was nasty before, I want you to re-examine who you are at your core and start treating people with kindness and respect. Especially during this season, they deserve it. And you can see it on some of their faces. They're terrified. Because think about everybody that comes through that store. They are, thank you, Bill. They are risking everybody that they've come in contact with. So they go home every day not knowing who they walk past today. So when you're in the store, be kind to people. And just to give you a quick little story, earlier this week I was in CVS and I walked by the pharmacy. I wasn't getting anything out of the pharmacy. Well, I was getting anything from the pharmacist's counter, but I was getting some allergy medicine. And when I walked by the counter, the young lady said, "Hey, Miss Dixon." Now, she wasn't feeling anything for me, so technically she should not have known who I was. But she did, because when I do go in to get a prescription filled, I treat them with kindness and respect, even when you have to wait forever. because I know that they don't have any control over how many people are calling today or how many prescriptions they need to fill. So be kind to people. They are risking their life to service you. And adhere to the guidelines of staying 6 feet away from people, just as a courtesy. But more than anything, I want you to be grateful. When you have a negative thought, I want you to instantaneously think about how you can shift that to something positive. If you think, I'm sick and tired of being stuck at home, I want you to think about, I'm grateful that I've got a home to be stuck in. I saw a homeless person on Highway 70 in Garner a couple of weeks ago. And this was, I think, was the first day that we really had the stay in place, the shelter in place. This was before we went to the official, but they were suggesting it at that point. And I almost burst into tears because it hit me in that moment that they didn't have a home to go to. So be grateful for what you do have. You're tired of eating at home, be grateful that you got food to eat. You're sick to death of this, everybody being at home. Be grateful that you got a home bursting with laughter and anger and madness, because this has been a transition for me, because although I'm an introvert, I live alone. So guess what? At a stay-at-home order, I'm not talking to anybody every day. I'm not seeing anybody. And that has been an adjustment for me, because I'm spending, I used to spend 90% of my time alone, which was fine. But spending 100% of my time alone has been an adjustment for me. So I have to follow my own tips. The 5th tip this morning, though, is give yourself permission not to know how to do any of this. All of my tips are great, and I recognize that. But on some days, we're going to have some moments when we just don't know what to do. Whether it's with the homeschooling, with the stay-at-home order, any of that. This is new to all of us. None of our parents, grandparents, nobody has, good morning, Hugh, has a frame of reference for this. So we got to give ourselves permission not to know how to do this. We got to be kind to ourselves. We got to be kind to our others. We're going to feel frustrated, and we're going to feel sad. Yesterday in the grocery store, I had a moment where it's just a wave of sadness washed over me as I walked around. People weren't looking at each other. They were trying, you could see them actually drawing in as they passed each other. And that made me incredibly sad, because I love people. And, you know, I talk to people. And even in the grocery store, although a man did tell me that he loved the Fearless t-shirt that I had on, I didn't even realize I had it on. Tiffany, it was one of our Blue Cross Blue Shield shirts that said Fearless, and he was like, I love that. And I was like, well, that is me, but I didn't even realize I had the t-shirt on. But we all are going to have those moments of frustration, those moments of sadness. Give yourself permission to feel whatever it is that you're feeling, but don't stay there. We got to do what it is that we need to do to inspire ourselves to get back up off the couch and get moving again. Because again, this is going to last. As we can see from the previous week, this is going to last for a little while. It's part of, we got to go through this process, but I don't want anybody to come out on the other end of it not mentally well, because we didn't know what to do during the process. So we're going to feel frustrated. We're going to feel sad. Give yourself permission to feel those things, and then do what you need to do some self-care in that moment, so that it passes. But the tip number 6 is the one that's going to be the most beneficial to all of us, and that's to stay focused. Excuse me. When I say stay focused, what I mean is you got to keep your eyes, your heart, and your mind stayed on Jesus. He will draw all men unto thee. And when I say that, I want you to remember the story of Peter when Jesus told him to step out of the boat. Peter was able to walk on water, something that no man should ever be able to accomplish as long as he kept his eyes on Jesus. Guys, please share the video if you haven't already done so. And thank you to the ones who did. As long as he kept his eyes on Jesus, Peter was able to walk on water. But as soon as fear crept in and he took his eyes off of Jesus, he began to sink. So this is what I want you to remember, guys. Keep your eyes, keep your mind, keep your heart stayed on Jesus. Turn to Psalms. Every week I've been giving, even before I start giving the official tips, every week I've been giving you some Psalms to turn to. So go to Psalms 46, go to Psalms 91, Psalms 23. Those are great Psalms to read when you're feeling fearful, when you're feeling afraid, when you don't know what to do. It will soothe you. It will comfort you. It will increase your faith, but it will help you stay focused. Don't lose your focus during this season, excuse me. The scriptures teach us there's a season for everything. There's a time to be born. There's a time to die. But during this season, we got to stay focused. God will see us through this. The world we live in has changed, and it's going to be different even after we come out of this. But I'm telling you, we will survive this and we will thrive. So keep your focus. Don't lose your focus. Don't turn away from God in this season. Actually, this is the perfect time to increase your prayer time, to increase your study time, to form a relationship with Him. If you don't have a relationship with Him, because I don't know about you, but I come from the country church and country grandparents where they say He walks with me and He talks with me. Well, that thing is real. When you form a relationship with Him, you'll be able to hear Him speaking to you in your spirit. I often tell people I can hear His voice on the wind. That's why I spend so much time outdoors. But guys, thank you for watching this segment of In the Garden with Joyful Living. Please share the video. Today's tips were number 1, to start journaling. Some of y'all got some books in you that's going to be based off of this experience. I want to see you on the New York Times bestseller list because of what you write about today. Good morning, Curtis. Number 2 was set a schedule to your day. If you're working from home for the first time in your life, or you've become unemployed for the first time in your life, set a schedule so that you don't get stuck in the rut of just laying around all day. Get up. Thank you, Bill. You know what? Bill, that is what my entire purpose for doing the In the Garden with Joyful Living is, to motivate people, to inspire people, to help people. And sometimes it's not even for you guys all the time. Sometimes it's for me, that I'll say something in the message that I'm like, okay, that it will resonate with me, because I don't know, God has just given me something that where I want to taking care of people. That's my heart. So I'm so glad that this message was resonated with you this morning. But get up, get dressed, brush your hair, brush your teeth, wash your face. Just the hygiene things. Because we all know when we are sad or frustrated, we will not do the care, the physical care that we need to. I know, because when I was disabled, some days I just couldn't. I don't want to today, and I wouldn't. But I realized that if you get up, wash your face, brush your teeth, take a shower, get dressed, those simple things, that it impacts the way you feel throughout the rest of the day. Number 4 was be grateful. In every situation, there's something to be grateful for. As frustrated as we are, when you find yourself getting ready to complain, immediately shift that to something that you can be grateful for. And then number 5 was give your permission not to know how to do any of this. None of us experts are going through a pandemic. We've never experienced this before. Even if we went through SARS in 2003, I think it was. It did not have the kind of impact on the world that this coronavirus is having, and it did not impact the U.S. the way that it did the eastern part of the world. So even if we experience that, we don't know how to do this, what we're going through today. So give yourself permission to not know how to do this. Don't compare yourself to what anybody else is doing, or how they're homeschooling their kids, or how they're faring, and they're just loving it and exercising. Don't do that. Do what you can. Take care of yourself, but recognize that it's okay, that we're gonna get frustrated, that we're gonna feel sad, and that we're gonna bounce back from this. But number 6 is the most important one. Stay focused. Don't lose your focus during this time. Keep your eyes stayed on Jesus. Study, pray, talk to Him. When I learned that He walks with me and talked to me is when I sat on the couch and screamed and cried and told Him how mad I was at Him that I was in my 30s and couldn't walk across the room. That's when, good morning, Delta. You're getting on at the very end. Go back and listen to the video. Some really great tips today. But that's when I learned what it really means that He walks with me and He talks with me, because I was in a position to start listening to what he was saying to me all along. And all of that is what led to me becoming a life coach, becoming a speaker, so that I am now doing in the Garden with Joyful Living. But had I not gone through that experience of being disabled, I would not be who I am today. I started listening to what he had been telling me all along. So guys, thank you for watching In the Garden with Joyful Living. I love you. I'm going to go to the park since we can still go to the park. I've been going to the park to walk around the track. I don't like walking, just walking around the track though. So I take my jump rope. I walk one lap, then I jump rope or do what other things. But it's just an opportunity for me to get outside and to see some other people and talk to them at a distance. But guys, I love you. I pray that you all are well and that your family is well and safe. I love you so very much. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You guys are everything to me. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.